Hello, hello. I hope everybody can hear me. Let me know if the volume is okay. Thank you for being here. This episode of Healing Together podcast was just kind of thrown together last night at last minute with one of my new dearest friends, and I'm going to bring her on, Lindsay.
Hi.
Hi, thank you for being here.
Of course. Thank you for asking me.
Yeah, I know that I didn't tell you any topic because I didn't really have one until this morning where I was like, you know what, let's just talk about the new going into this year and what our new positive goals are going to be. Because there's been a lot of negativity and everybody's going through some hard times. The holidays are over. I think we need some good positivity back into our lives.
I agree.
So, with that being said, let's go back to 2024 for just a brief second. And what is one of the things that you were most proud of last year for yourself?
That's honestly really tough right now.
I know it's tough for me. That's why I'm getting our gears thinking.
I'm glad that I didn't give up and just fold and let things go as they may, and I kept fighting back despite everything going on, and it was very negative to my mental health, and it affected me really bad. Everything that happened since the beginning of the year, it was like April is when it all started crumbling, is when I started talking about stuff in the open, and then everybody kind of piled on me, and then I went a little I went a little awry and like really struggled mentally because of everything. And I think it took me literally all year to be able to like understand the severity of what I was dealing with. I don't think I understood, and I was just very combative, and I don't want to feel that way again, And so I learned a lot of lessons in 2024, that's for sure. So that's positive. So yeah, I can say that. I can take that with me.
Yeah. And, with the little bit that I saw of you here and there, I'm proud of you not giving up on yourself.
Thanks.
I've seen you go through a lot. A lot of us have gone through a lot in this little community all year long. And I think for me, what I'm most proud about is kind of the same. Like, I thought my mental health was tanking so bad that I was never going to be able to get out of my little bipolar spiral. Because, that's what it kind of feels like sometimes when you're under that much weight through trauma, through your own like illnesses. It can sort of feel like this bad feeling is never going to go away, is it? Like, it's always going to be like this, but it's not.
Right.
And even though I learned some hard lessons as well, I am proud of myself for sticking with my channel and continuing to do the goals that I set out to do when I started this. So I think both of us are kind of on the same page with that.
Yeah, I think you get it. We've talked about it, so
yeah. And I think for me going into 2025, I'm going to, the one thing that I'm definitely going to hold myself to, and I hope that everybody will join me on this, is more art. Cool. Creating more art. Like, I love just sitting on stream talking while we like draw or create something. Even if I'm building in The Sims, like those are the moments that shine through all the like heavy stuff and all the advocacy work that we do, because you're in heavy work, I'm in heavy work. We have to have those moments that ground us.
Yeah.
So for you, what do you think you're going to take into 2025 to ground you?
I learned about I'm learning about what really triggers me and what can help me prevent me from going and spiraling because of triggers. Environmental triggers, that's a huge thing for me, that I was very reactive this whole past year. And so I'm starting to understand more. I know it took me long enough, but sometimes for some of us, it does. And a lot of things that I just couldn't understand, I felt like I was going crazy. And I don't feel crazy anymore, luckily.
Yay.
That's a big deal. I feel like I'm just glad I stuck to my guns no matter what, and I didn't let anybody push me down and keep me down, no matter what, no matter how crazy I went, seemingly, right? And I just kept going, and now I want to continue that, but I want to make sure I'm doing it in the most productive way, not wasting tireless energy on other people or other things that aren't going to push me forward. So it's important for me to be honest and tell the truth about situations and other people and injustices, etc. But it's also very important that I weigh those against my personal well-being, that I'm not going to speak out at the expense of my own self anymore. To just harm myself. Like, it has to be it has to be something that's going to be productive, whatever I do. So I think I'm learning what that really means. What is the best way to put my energy towards something that will actually be productive and worthwhile,
Yeah, exactly. And I know that, like, sometimes we can get all up in our heads and not even know what that even looks like for us until we get there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you're at a place where you're still peeling back those onion layers to reveal not just everything that occurred and how you handled it and how you're peeling back more layers to see where yourself begins.
Right.
And how you can take all those, like, all of everything that happened, not even just with that specific ordeal, but anything that happens, and just remember that it's those negative feelings will be temporary, and you just got to keep peeling back and know who you are and where your lines are at, where your boundaries are. Like, I don't think it's unproductive sometimes to not I don't really like calling it combativeness, but, like, confronting things.
Yeah.
We don't need to harp on them, like, constantly. I think that's what brings us down. I think we can stand up, we can say, hey, I want to confront this thing real quick, and can we come to a compromise? If not, then I'm just going to move on.
Right.
If we can, then great, we can move forward with that. That's
exactly.
where I've had to, like, over the last couple of years, I really have had to learn how to navigate my personal boundaries and who I trust with my emotions. Because I put a lot of emotion and, like, a lot of myself out here on the internet, but there's still, a level of holding yourself back publicly. And those people that are private to you, they get to see a different side. And if they can't handle you being emotional, then they're probably not the best people to have around. Like, if they don't want to help figure out how to come to, like, some sort of an agreement to keep each other in each other's lives, then I can't help you. Like, I'm not going to be the only one lifting the relationship. If that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
I definitely had to learn a lot of that. Like, I don't know how many friends you've made on the internet, but, like, I've been a loner my whole life. And so I've made a lot of my friends online, whether we ever met in person or not. Like, there's still some people I met 20 years ago off of LiveJournal. in my space that I still like to this day have conversations with. But you still have like such a disconnect that you don't get to see each other like in your own, and like you don't get to see each other in their totality. So
Right.
like with you and I, unless I like were around you all the time, I wouldn't get all of your mannerisms or all of how you work, all the ins and outs of that. But you can still form really strong bonds with people
Mm-hmm.
um, in communities like this. You just, again, I feel like, back to my point, you just have to be careful who you show all of your emotions to,
Mm-hmm.
because you never know what their deal really is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've come to realize that I just need more face-to-face, like video conversations with people, not necessarily live, but like I just want to hang out with people.
Yeah.
Like, let's pretend we're at a bar and just like drink while being on a live together. I'm not you, but
I'll pretend. I'll
you
drink
can
my Capri
pretend.
Sun. This
That
is
was
what
just
I
my
got.
example. Or we could eat dinner together. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
For
Just have
sure.
like more fun, like getting to know people in this like online space can be hard. And those face-to-face interactions, they mean a lot to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because then I also get to see who you are. I get to see your bright, shiny face. Like,
Yeah.
telephones are always all weird for me because I'm like, I'm so awkward. I can't see your face. I don't know what you look like.
I know. I don't like it either. And then I always would text and I'm like, video's kind of cool. I think I think I didn't realize that there's a lot of it sounds weird coming from me. I didn't realize there's a lot of sick people. No, I did know that because I do come from the addiction and mental health community. But it's like a different kind of feeling than I realized. Like I don't know how to say it without saying it. I don't want it to sound bad, but I just mean I'm used to people always like still trying,
Mhm.
even if they mess up. And so I think I started like witnessing a lot of people that are content staying in this toxic mindset. And then it made
Yeah.
me feel like stagnant and like, oh, this is okay. I can act on like this. And it's like, no, I can't. I have to stay with my people that mostly on the outside and everything on the outside, like, face to face of like recovery and things like that, because I get isolated and then, look what happened this past year because I wasn't connected and,
Mhm.
you know, and now the past week I went back to work. I went to a new place of employment and that's interesting trying to figure out the balance again because I do have a professional role, but I've also developed this YouTube and it went beyond the professional and then I was just honest about myself. And it's kind of trying to figure out how to I want to be authentic. Um but at the same time, I do want to always be honest, but I have to, because of work, I have to withhold a certain amount of
Mhm.
myself, if that makes sense. So I just have to
Yeah.
find that balance.
Yeah.
That's
I
big.
think it's also scary just to like be so open, and you don't know who's going to take those words and turn them against you, or who's lurking that you may not want to watch. I had to like learn how to kind of get over those like intrusive thoughts when I'm on a live. um and really it all just started for me just gaming, and it was on Twitch. Like, I left YouTube probably a decade ago, and it wasn't until I got involved with the anti-Scientology movement that I felt kind of comfortable enough that I want to try it out again, and I had more goals to do. And I just another thing that I learned from last year was to not let things deter me from my goals.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. I didn't think I was going to be in this other community at all. I didn't predict that.
Mhm.
It was quite surprising, actually. And so, and that's another thing of being able to balance different friendships and communities that I'm a part of, because I totally left a lot of the addiction community. I'd made a huge addiction online community via X. Like that's where it began a couple years ago. And then I started getting a lot
Mhm.
of followers there, and I actually became friends with a lot of those people in real life and live streaming with them. And that's where it started. And then, and then this, when I talked about things, then I became susceptible to another community that I didn't realize was going to happen.
Mhm.
So just navigating that was difficult.
Yeah, 'cause, going back to one of your points about, um,
Stop.
people I can hear him,
Here.
about people, like, staying in the cycle of, their sickness or their misery or their depression, whatever it is. I've really people who are not actively healing are
Mhm.
like that, and obviously groups like this will bring those people in because we want those people to not feel alone.
Right.
But then you have to know how to navigate those types of people who just will not listen to anything you say. They're not actively trying to get better. So it's like,
Right.
I don't want to leave people behind, but I just give out the tools and the resources that I can in
Mhm.
hopes that those people will follow those resources. But I'm not going to allow people to also trauma dump on me without my consent
Right.
first.
Right.
Like, obviously, in this kind of space, if I'm talking about that kind of stuff, then yeah, like the chat, you can talk about whatever. But when it comes to like my personal time, I just don't want people just all of a sudden just start trauma dumping on me and without me being prepared for it. It's like
Mhm.
if someone, like, I try and do this to people. I sometimes will forget if I'm like too emotional,
Mhm.
but I at least try to even remember for myself to be aware to be like, hey, I'm in a tough spot. Like, I need to talk some stuff out. Do you have time?
Mhm. I like
So
that.
that way I don't feel like I'm just like barging in onto somebody's like time and like just dumping negative stuff. And it's, still an up and down thing with that because sometimes when we get extremely emotional, we can get a little impulsive and we just need to be heard.
Yeah.
And yeah, that can further harm somebody else who's not mentally prepared to hear whatever you have going on.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Good point. Very good point.
What's Is that your orange one, Lindsay?
Yeah. Titters.
So cute.
Yes, my
Um,
orangey one.
Indigo also says, I'm sorry you were thrown head first into
Thank you.
that, Lindsay. That's so hard, especially when opening up about abusive relationships.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and on YouTube, I feel like I can say whatever because most of the people who actually know me in real life or have known me don't watch this. I also don't really tell anybody about it. So
Mhm.
like I have a whole other like life over here
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
most of my friends don't even know about, or it's not that they don't care. It's just they have their own things going on. I don't expect them to be like showing up and listening to like
Mhm.
me play games or listening to trauma all day long. I don't know.
Right.
So I stopped kind of posting things like that on Facebook. Occasionally I will, but
Mean.
I do kind of get a little scared sometimes at saying parts of my story and those people seeing that I'm talking about them
Yeah.
because I don't trust certain people that I've had in my past, in real life, not just online, but these
Mhm.
are like real life people who have abused me. And so sometimes when I feel like I want to talk about it, it's like, oh God, who's going to like tell them that I'm talking about them after all these years and they're going to come and retaliate against me. That's what goes on in my head sometimes. Even if I don't say names, I still feel like that person out there is going to be like, and then come for me. But I just have to kind of move forward and not care anymore what that person has to say about me, because they're long gone from my life. And if they're the type of person to stay in that misery, and if they want to stay in that misery when I've like moved freaking miles away from that by now, like,
right,
I'm kind of in a better place than they are.
Right. There's so many people that I've cut off and have learned to do that over the years since getting sober, because I didn't want to expose myself to any more harm. But unfortunately, there's possible harm in all places that we just have to be careful all around. I like to consider myself courageous, but like when it's just like enough to where I can't keep exposing myself to harm in certain areas by speaking about something or doing something, it's just better off to continue moving forward and self-preservation in a way.
Until you get miles and miles away from that as well.
Right. Like
when
processing and moving through it.
You have to process it first.
In the past, because it's hard to get through something when it's still right there.
Yep.
I can't put it in the past when it's right here in front of me.
And it's not just like intimate relationships. It's like ex-friends that treated me like garbage. And the one particular one, I did date him, but we stayed friends afterwards. And man, that was a mistake. He was the type of person that like you literally could not say anything against him or like indicate that you were moving on in any way, because he would immediately like attack. Oh, you just don't care that much about me. Like, and like try and like play the victim, the guilt game. And I think if I were to have said anything about this person publicly, like on my Facebook, it had to have been back then when it was still going on. I was still so like kind of frightened and didn't have much courage. And I wasn't listening to my partner, who was like telling me, if you're going to say something publicly, you need to do it now. And I was like, I don't know. I like, because I was scared of this guy. And in real life, like, what the fuck is he going to do to me? Like, he was broke as shit, didn't have a job, was just like, woe is me constantly, but he wasn't, and he also played the disabled card. He wasn't as disabled as he claimed to be. And that just rubbed me the absolute wrong way, because I am a disabled person. I'm just like, man, I don't feel like this person would physically do anything to me, so I wasn't scared of that. It was just more of like my reputation, I guess, because he made it so hard for me to maneuver in my own circles.
Yeah.
And I had to literally just grieve an entire whole life that I had built for myself in the music community in Seattle and the art scene and stuff. I lost people who I thought were actual friends of mine that I had done free photos for and free artwork for years, by the way. All free, because I thought we were friends. But no, it doesn't matter what Mandy's side of the story is. Professional relationships, because we were both calling each other abusers. So they were like, it was in the middle of Me Too. So they were like, well, I have to let both of you go because I don't know who to believe. He had muddied the water so much in our circle that I had no way to stand up at that point. So I just had to pick myself up and move on.
Yeah.
And thankfully, like, I had some good support, and I leaned on them, and I learned I learned the lesson I learned out of that was you can't go around just begging people for you to believe you.
Right.
If they don't want to come and ask your side of the story,
no. Nope, doesn't work.
Get out. Get out.
Been there.
Yeah,
Nope.
it's like, oh, I thought we were friends, but you only are listening to him, and like, and apparently it's just drama. It's not abuse. That's the one thing that I will always freak out about when someone says it's just drama. I don't want to get involved in the drama. I'm like, it's a pattern of hurting people. A pattern. Like, why are you enablers, man?
That's I'm really coming to terms with just how much that can affect us, you know, because I didn't realize that there's not just the one person, you know, with abusers. It's everyone that enables them and supports them and goes along with it. And those people continue the abuse and they continue it. And I didn't want to let it affect me, but I have to be honest that it did. It really does affect us.
No, Keela.
I appreciate that.
Seeing the pattern is important. And it took me a long time to even understand what narcissistic abuse was, what gaslighting was.
Yeah.
But my thing happened like 2016, 2017. So, like I said, I jumped on like really ramming myself into healing and figuring myself out, and like just stuck with that, and that's what really got me through all of it. And just becoming more self-aware of like my own patterns of behavior and how like people who are autistic, people who, you know, have trauma like PTSD, people who are addicts, there's a lot of disabled, there's a lot of vulnerable, very vulnerable people that these types of people latch onto because they know that they can push them around.
Right.
And that was me like almost my entire life growing up. And and it does not matter what age you're at.
Right.
You can always break the cycle at any point, and it doesn't matter if it takes you a really long time or you see it within a couple of years. It took me till like my late 30s to even begin to unpack any of that. So no matter where you are in your healing or you're not healing yet, don't put a lot of pressure on yourself. You can do it. You can get through it. It is possible. It may take you a bit, but it is very possible. You just have to stick with it. That was the one thing that I had to keep reminding myself. Again, even if you don't feel like you're ever going to get better, it's going to get better. Like I like was literally like thinking this, how can I like be in therapy for 10 years and then just now figure it out? It just took me that long for my brain to really wrap my head around it.
Right. Yeah. I think what surprised me so much is that I've done a lot of work on myself and had been sober for years and dealt with a lot of the core difficulty in therapy and in treatment centers and this and that. And I'd come out the other side and been helping others with it. And then all of a sudden, boom, it's like, oh, wait a minute. You are still susceptible. Hello. I'm still susceptible to anyone that, you know, will come into my life and make any damage that, you know, that happens. You know, I don't know how to explain it, but I think you guys probably know what I mean. Just like realizing like, it's okay. You shouldn't have known better, you know, because I kept saying, well, you should know better. You should know better. You're a counselor. You're this, you're that. You study mental health. You're in what, you know, this textbook, but and experienced it in that manner to where like you're right here and you're like, oh my God, I'm in it because I can sit there and help someone else. But then when it happens to me, it's like, wait a minute. I can't help myself through this. I have to seek outside help. And I have to seek the correct outside help. That's another thing too. It's like, we got to be careful with who helps us. And I learned that the hard way. Who I reach out to and who I allow to make impression in my life, and who I follow, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
so that's another thing. Just being able to see more clear, I guess, it's, and not,
Yeah.
not beating myself up for something that happened that I'm like, oh my God, I should know better. And it's like, it doesn't matter at this point. Is that helping me move forward and process? No.
I mean, I've had many people abuse my time
Mhm.
and my generosity and my honesty, and you'd think, like, I'm telling myself I should have known better.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's not me who caused that person to do what they did.
Mhm.
Like, I believed in somebody, and I don't regret that, because what if it had turned out good? Like, I'm not going to, I don't want to be the type of person that doesn't offer support or, let someone lean on me just because I think they might end up abusing me later. Like, you never, it's very hard to tell if someone is going to ever do that to you. Are you still there? Uh-oh. Where did Lindsay go? Or when people say listen to both sides, sometimes there is good and evil. Yes. That is true. And I don't think that, like, everybody. Oh.
My computer died.
Oh no. She'll be back. She probably hit the back button. It is a slow process to get to that point.
I'm sorry. I pressed another button. I'm sorry. All right, I'm
Okay.
here. I'm on my phone. Okay, we're good?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So back to what you were
Oh,
saying about not, like, beating yourself up if
right.
someone does, like, end up hurting you, because we go through
Oh,
this life, like, trying to learn who we can trust, but the bottom line is we don't know until the trust has been broken.
hmm right. Like I
I
can see
mean,
warnings, but that's not always correct, right?
yeah. I mean, there are certain things that we can go, that seems like a concern for me. And
hmm
maybe when you recognize that something could be concerning to you, and you take that boundary or that step back for yourself until you feel better, because just because you feel, off about somebody doesn't mean that they're a completely bad person. They just might not be the right person to be in your world.
Right. Exactly.
And that's why I don't like to also go around and tell people who they should or shouldn't be friends with just based on my interactions with that person. Because unless it's like, I see someone doing a pattern of abuse, or just, have really terrible traits as a human, like, if I tell my friend, hey, I don't like this person, I don't want to be around them because of XYZ, that is not me saying, hey, you should break up with them as a friend, because if you two can get along, that's fine. I don't need to get along with them. Right? That's the way that I feel about a lot of things these days, because when I went through a lot of that heavy, like, abuse and gaslighting and was just trying to, like, beg people to listen to me, I was like, I'm not going to do that anymore. Uh-oh. Did Lindsay's phone die too? Yeah, yeah. And sometimes I won't even say anything because, like, again, if it's just, a me thing, I'm not getting along with that person, I don't need to make a fuss about it, right?
I'm so sorry. Literally, my phone rang and it kicked me off.
Oh.
I'm not
It's
I'm not experienced using my phone for this. I'm out of my element. I'm sorry.
it's okay.
Ugh. What was the last thing you said?
Just trying to like wrap up the point about, you know, if you don't get along with someone, it doesn't mean that they're a bad person and you should go around like begging people, don't be friends with that person because I don't trust them. Like,
There's a way to, because that can be manipulative too.
mhm.
A way, I mean, I kind of was unsure at first, but then once I realized like what I'm dealing with is not just like a he said she said thing. But if it is something like that, like a friendship thing, to where it's like I don't mix well with someone, yeah, I'm not gonna even say anything usually. Like if someone
Yeah,
may not want an opinion on that, but
right, right. So I wanted to wrap it up with just one more positive goal that you want to take into 2025 for yourself.
my biggest thing is probably work. It's going more because it was kind of put on pause this last year, and so I'm back at it and about to have my degree, and so then I can get my next certification. And I'm just going to keep going, and not let anything stop here. So that's probably the biggest thing. Like, back, not stopping, So just, and also, being open minded. That's been a continual goal of mine in the past, but but continuing to do so, and realizing like I don't know everything. I'm trying to learn. No matter how much I learn, the more I realize I don't know, and really has been like that. Especially the more I learn in my field. more
Yeah, don't knock the vision board. Vision boards are cool.
I
Yeah, I love doing vision boards. It's I call that manifesting. Your mic keeps going out, but I can understand what you're saying. Because I read lips.
apparently paid like thousands of dollars for this phone.
I know, right?
It's great.
So
Love it.
my second goal, I think we're both on the same page. Geez, are we like twins? Mine is like I'm about to be done with my AA and I'm just gonna keep going. I'm
Hmm.
just gonna hopefully just get right into the bachelor program for behavioral sciences and continue that journey. Um, Continue just being, a substitute teacher for the preschool. Um, and I want to just follow through. That's another thing for myself is following through on things. Like
Hmm.
once I start something, it's very hard for me to finish it. I'll have like 20 projects going at once just because my brain is so scattered.
Hmm.
And so one of my behavioral modifications for myself is to like start really realizing the order of projects and when to like it's okay to put something aside. Otherwise,
Hmm.
I just need to follow through with the thing
Right. Right.
instead of just quitting on it in the middle.
That's a very hard thing. I don't think a lot of people realize like there's a lot of us that struggle with that.
Yeah.
That has been something I've had to really work on in my career because I was like that all the time, like in work stuff too. And like I would start something and get into it and not complete it. So follow through has been huge for me. Thank you. I hope
But
so.
you know what else other than keeping ourselves in check is keeping each other in
Yeah.
check.
Yeah.
Making sure that, each other is doing good. Where do you need help or support at?
Mhm.
Um, I can be your cheerleader. Like, let's
Right.
just really focus on being positive reinforcements for each other and keeping
Yeah.
each other like on track. Like that's another reason why I have really enjoyed being becoming your friend is because you kind of like help me go, You want to do it live? Like, come on, let's do it live. Let's do this. It's like, okay, yeah, that's what I need. I need people around me that go, okay, we're gonna do a thing. Let's do it this day,
Yeah.
this time.
Yeah. Make ourselves get out of our comfort zone.
Exactly.
Yeah. You just got to
Got
do
to
it.
take baby steps towards that.
Mhm.
You two inspire me so much. Oh, thank you. All of you inspire us to keep
Mhm.
doing this work.
Yeah.
Like, if it wasn't for the anti-Scientology community, and it's not just them, I'm also wrapped in like a couple other communities online,
Mhm.
like the troubled teen industry people, and trying to like help them with getting their message out. Like, that's going to be what 2025 is going to be, full force. Let's help children, let's help people who need support, let's
Mhm.
gather our resources so we can better educate everybody else,
Yeah,
so they
for
know
sure.
what to do and where to go.
Yeah. Um, I like the theme that I've been hearing lately. I keep hearing, um, keep each other accountable as friends, and I like that. Not in the way of like, oh, I can make you be accountable, but like helping you be accountable where you want to be accountable, not where I
Mm-hmm.
say you need to be accountable. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like you let me know how I can help you. What do you need from me? How can I better be a friend? You know?
Yeah, and things are a lot more enjoyable sometimes when you have friends to do it with.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
I want to say something to Indigo. I used to call that accountability.
Little buddies.
But yeah, that word,
Yeah. I
accountability
still say
buddies.
that. Yeah.
Yes, let's be
Yes.
accountability buddies.
I still say that. And I say to my clients too, I say, this is your accountability buddy. And I was like, I love that. I can't help it.
Nice. All
Yeah.
right. Well, I'm going to wrap it up there so I can go and do some chores around the house, get those
Yeah.
things done, because I was just looking at the floor of laundry and I'm like, God damn, I don't want to do that, but I have to,
I feel that.
or I
I,
won't have underwear.
I feel that too. I got to do that. This is the day. This is the day.
Not gonna lie, during the summer, sometimes I've just gone just commando. Like, oops, I forgot I don't have any
It's,
underwear today.
it's
Oh
okay.
man, yes, no more kids in troubled teen camps. I'm so happy that Biden signed that bill. Did you hear about it, Lindsay? He
No.
signed the bill for stop institutionalized child abuse.
When was that?
Just a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
He
okay. Yeah,
signed
no, I
it
didn't hear about
into
it.
law.
That's good.
Um, it's off of the law, the policy that Paris Hilton was helping put
Oh,
forward.
okay. I saw her talking at something. That's all I saw.
Yeah, so
Interesting.
thankfully, it's first steps to actually helping these kids in these
Okay.
places and
Yeah.
holding them accountable for the horrific stuff that they do to them.
Yeah. That's good. This is
Yeah.
great.
All right, guys, I'm gonna say goodbye. Good
Bye.
afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Stay safe, stay hydrated, and you have a closing motto.
Follow me on the YouTube BoobTube Recover from Addiction, or well, it's at Recover from Addiction, or you can just look up Lindsay Life After Addiction. That's
Yep,
me.
and I have that channel link in the description as
Thank you.
well. Thank you for being here. I love you so
Talk to
much,
you soon.
Lindsay.
Love
I
you
will talk
too.
to you soon.
Love you guys. Bye.